This has to be Spider-Man.
But a very special Spider-Man 2099 theme song.
All right. So this is the future? Are we
Kinda.
Kinda? And the only reason why I guessed that right today, Tanya, is because I know it's coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
So I had done my homework just a little bit, or seen enough commercials for it, that I figured this has to be it. So It's a big weekend for Spider-Man, huh?
It is, and I got to see it last night. This one is Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, and so Rhino's already mentioned 2099. There is a Spider-Man, as my uncle would say, more Spider-Man, spider creatures than you can shake a stick at. I mean, there's like hundreds.
So how do they do this in the storyline? How do they spin out all these different spider people?
Well, you just have all these different universes, a multiverse. And so the story, so in the first one, we met Miles, who is the new Superman, the new Spider-Man. And so there's a new nemesis in this one who is out to get Miles because he blames Miles for his situation, which is he is a kind of a blank-faced creature with black holes all in him, and those are actual portals, and he starts weaving in and out of all of these dimensions and causes a problem. And so Miles has to jump in along with not Mary Jane, but
Gwen.
Thank you. And they together are going through all of these multiverses where they have to band together with all these other spider creatures and save the world, basically.
Gotcha. The world is always in peril.
Yeah. But so when the first one came out, and when I say first one, I mean this new animated, Sony animation projects, it just kind of turned everything on its ear. It was like one of the first non-Disney animated movies to win an Oscar. The animation was like unlike anything we had seen up until that point. And this one takes it to the next level. I mean, there are all kinds of animation styles going on at the same time. And when I saw it, just for my schedule, I just happened to pick the IMAX screening. And boy, am I glad I did. You really need to see this in an IMAX theater if you can.
So what's the difference? What's an IMAX if someone has never experienced it?
Well, just a ginormous screen. I mean, and this is just one of those that you've got to go see in the theater. Not everybody can go to IMAX because not every market has it. But if you can, try to. If you can't, go to the biggest screen you can find because you will not be disappointed. But several, a bunch of different styles. You've got, your computer animation, some live action from all of the iterations of Spider-Man we've seen up until now show up, some hand-drawn animation. It's just a feast for the eyes. I felt like I was sitting in a watercolor painting at some points. I mean, it's just really incredible. And I'm going to see it again because it's so much that I feel like I missed.
Do you need to have seen any others before coming to see this one?
No, I think you will definitely enjoy it and appreciate there's all kinds of Easter eggs in it. So you're going to, of course, enjoy it much more if you have a little history with the series. As far as the animated one that came out before this one a few years ago, it's okay if you didn't see that one because at the very beginning it kicks off and just kind of catches you up to where they are. There's several new additions. You've got this Spider Council, and they're like the police of all of these, the Spiderverse, keeping law and order. And so we meet a lot of new characters, but two of my favorites, one is Spider-Punk. He is like a cool rocker guy who's got a guitar as part of his little get-up, and it's voiced by Daniel Kaluuya. And, I mean, he is so cool, and his animation style, he just stands out every time he's on the screen. And then there's a motorcycle riding Spider-Woman named Jessica Drew, who just happens to be pregnant. So the whole time I'm a little stressed out about her riding around on a motorcycle pregnant. And she's voiced by Issa Rae. So, I mean, just all kinds of new fun characters. I think that if you are a fan of the comic books, that, that a lot of these characters are introduced in, you're really, really going to love it even more. But I knew nothing, and I enjoyed it. But I noticed the theater was pretty full, and there were a lot of, 30-ish to 40-ish year old men.
Rhino's shaking his head.
Who were having the time of their lives. I mean, they had so much fun. Lots of laughing out loud.
So, Rhino, in the comic book world, is this something that was comic books, 20 years ago that's just now being made to a movie, or is it ongoing comic books that then get made to a movie several years later?
Yes and no. A lot of these spider people that are coming from the different universes are newer creations, but then you do have some, like the theme we heard coming in, Spider-Man 2099. That was a character created in 92, and it ran in comics from 92 to 96 or 97. So people our age, it was kind of a formative part of our growing, our adolescence. And then he just kind of went away. And he's made comebacks in different comic series, but it's just kind of a blast from the past for just that one, and there's hundreds of those.
Gotcha. Okay. But good for them to be able to get out and enjoy their childhood.
Yeah. And they were clearly excited because this was one of the very first showings, so they were there. I always enjoy it so much more when I get to watch a movie with people that are having a good time, and everybody in the theater loved it. Now, I took one for the team, and I stayed till the very end, and I will tell you there are no bonus scenes.
Oh.
So after the first, you're going to want to sit, of course, this is Sony Animation, but it's also co-produced by Marvel. But, those initial credits, you're going to want to sit there anyway because it's more animation, and it's just amazing to watch. And there's a little title graphic that comes up that just lets you know that Miles will be back. And there is another follow-up movie coming out next year. So that kind of tells you we kind of end on a cliffhanger. And I cannot wait for the next one to see what happens next. Also, it is animated. It's PG, but your kids may not make it. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So if you have littles, this may not be the movie for them.
That's long.
Yeah, it's a very long movie. But yeah, certainly worth your time. If you have ever watched Spider-Man, you're going to love it because there is a nod to pretty much every version of Spider-Man that exists. So,
is there anything that can compete with it this weekend?
Well, I don't know about competing, but there's a horror movie coming out this weekend, The Boogeyman.
No, thank you. You didn't take one for the team there,
I did
Tanya?
not take one for the team on this one. But yeah, so it's, a good old horror movie that is about a family that is having some problems. Their mother dies, and it's two girls, two sisters, and a dad left behind. And they're struggling. The dad's kind of distant, dealing with his own issues. So they bring in, the dad's a therapist. He has this patient that comes into their home for some counsel from the dad. And little do they know that he leaves behind a supernatural entity that preys on families.
Thanks, Dad.
That are in the midst of suffering. So they have to deal with all that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but it's PG-13,
which means it's not. It's R.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to have a sit down with all of these people who put the ratings. I'm like, you're messing up the cards.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think PG-13 is, but it's not whatever's out there right now. I promise you.
Yeah, they need to start putting asterisks and letting you know exactly what's in there.
They do, or basically stop rating things and just tell me, check the boxes.
Yeah.
Are any of these things in there? And then I can make the decision whether, to sort of go see it or not.
Yeah.
In that way, because Lord have mercy.
The Little Mermaid is still out there. It's huge, doing huge numbers. Number one last week for sure. it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like Spider-Man's going to be a close run. I think Spider-Man will come on top, but I think they're both going to do really well this weekend.
All righty, things to look forward to and to get out and see. Thank you, Tanya, for your time. But you guys stick with us. We got a little bit